this meeting of the Lake Mills City Council for August 1st, 2023 to order. Misty, please do a roll call.
Mr. Waters?
Here.
Mrs. Bishop?
Here.
Ms. Quidnow?
Here.
And Ms. Curler and Mr. Fields previously informed staff that they'd be unavailable for this evening's meeting.
Okay, thank you, Misty. Okay, let's please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item on the agenda is correction or acceptance of the City Council regular meeting minutes of July 18th, 2023, and for a special meeting of July 18th. Oh, I think that was all the special meeting. No, the first part was. Same date, July 18th, 2023, and a special meeting, another date of July 24th, 2023. Are there any corrections or comments on those minutes?
All looks good.
Okay. Hearing none, then I will accept those minutes into the record. Let's move on to correspondence. Can we, we'll give you a second, Michelle. Can we start with Mr. Waters, please?
Sure. The last 2 weeks was all about tree lawns and pickleball. And I did get also a letter on the new community center policy as well.
Just taking a note here. I just had a correspondence from a Parks Board member about procedure for the Parks Board meetings, and we'll go to Ms. Quidnow.
I also had an email regarding the community center policy and a phone call about the community center.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to questions and public comment. So I have something to read here. The public is encouraged to address the council at this time regarding items on the agenda. If your comments pertain to a public hearing, okay, which we're not having tonight, so I will skip that. Public comments may also be made at this time that are not on the agenda if you have registered with the city clerk before the meeting has been called to order. The state's open meeting law discourages action by the council on items not listed on the agenda. Please keep your comments limited to 3 minutes and state your name and address when starting your comments, and fill out the sign-in sheet provided. For those attending online, which I don't think there are any right now, please type your name and address in the chat feature. Okay, so I know we have some people here in the gallery. If anybody would like to make public comment, now is your chance. Yes, can you please go to the podium, and then if you have not given your name and address to the clerk already, please go ahead and write that down and then state it for the record.
Hello, my name is Elaine Thousand, and I live on Ray Street. When my husband and I moved here in 1993, we were informed by Mrs. Elsie, who had been there the longest, that it was proper to refer to the neighborhood as Ray's Woods, and we do love our tall oaks, and all of the neighbors do. And I think that's a feeling that is widespread across our city, and it's even recorded in some of the City of Lake Mills' own documents, including the strategic plan that you're all very familiar with, I'm sure, of 2022. And the plan talks about things, strengths of Lake Mills, such as small town environment, our atmosphere and charm, the historic elements, and I think we can all agree that trees, mature tall trees, contribute to those feelings that Norm and Rockwell feel that we value about our town. And in fact, the strategic plan even labeled Lake Mills as Tree City. So I'm hoping that the council members will look into a mechanism to look at our policies for preserving our mature trees. And I appreciate your time tonight, and thanks for all the work that you do.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Jeanette Heitman. I resigned and own a home at 510 College Street.
I'm here to express my deep concerns regarding the significant number of mature canopy trees that have been removed from our community in the last several years. I'm not sure if all of you are fully aware of the impact that current policies are having on our tree population. I myself wasn't fully aware of those until it happened right outside my front door. In spring and early summer, the city removed 18 mature canopy trees from a 2-block stretch on College Street from Ferry to Lake Street. Of those 18 trees, 16 were healthy. 5 trees had a diameter of greater than 32 inches, which included my healthy maple outside my front door. 6 trees had a canopy of a diameter between 21 and 30 inches. Their estimated age ranges go from 40 to 60 plus years. Needless to say, the negative impact on our neighborhood has been striking. When these trees are replaced by our city, they will be done so with small understory saplings with an average diameter of 1 inch. Even when fully grown, these small understory trees will never provide the benefits that our lost trees have provided us. I'm personally saddened by the loss of the beautiful trees lining my street that I have enjoyed for the last 35 years. More importantly, though, I am saddened by the significant loss to our community and its residents as more and more trees are removed. Mature trees provide a wealth of environmental and health benefits. Their cost savings in the provision of shade to individuals and homes, reduction of pollution, and even extending the life of pavement is sadly overlooked. As dramatic as this statement might sound, our city's current policies and their impact on our mature trees is negatively having an impact on the generations to come in our community. Because of that, I am here to request that our city study the impact that its policies are having on our mature trees and develop a policy to preserve and protect those trees. Thank you so much for your time and for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Okay, we're still in the public comment period. Yes, ma'am.
I got new bifocals. I'm still getting used to them. I don't know. They're awful. Okay. Hello, my name is Susan Trier, and my address is N6404 Cedar Lane. And I'm speaking to you today as someone who loves the city of Lake Mills. I shop at the downtown merchants and at the farmers market. I go to the festivals and volunteer to pull invasive weeds along the city shorelines. I also enjoy walking in Lake Mills. I wonder how many on the council and on city staff do the same thing. When you take a walk, do you go out of your way to walk down a street with no shade? Where the street terrace, or as Greg refers to as the tree lawn, struggles with too much sun, a mixture of scraggly weeds due to poor soil mix and no water? Or do you seek out a street where the shade makes it cooler, more restful for your eyes, where there are birds calling nearby? Have you ever noticed that streets with a tree canopy are quieter and that your mood seems to shift? Studies have shown that full-grown trees with an overhead canopy and birdsong reduces residents' stress and improves mental health. It encourages residents to walk, which is good for them, and reduces feelings of isolation, which is also good for them. When I worked at UW Health, I became aware of research that showed patients who were able to view tree canopies had reduced painkiller requirements as well as reduced lengths of stay. And we used to spend time trying to imagine how we could have our patients look at a tree. Access to mature trees also helps reduce symptoms of ADHD in children. It's not the number of trees, but the size of the canopy cover and the leaf surface area that matters. When tourists visit communities with lovely tree canopies and inviting neighborhoods begging you to walk in them, they marvel at how wonderful the experience is. These same cities still need to provide upgraded utilities to their residents, revamped storm management capabilities, and repaired streets. The difference is they have taken deliberate actions to prioritize keeping the character of their community and making the trade-off on keeping those large canopy trees. It wasn't a happy mistake. It was planned. In our city's case, these residential improvements necessitate cutting down trees preemptively. We're told that it's easier, that they won't survive anyway. Once these large canopy trees are removed, saplings are planted. This is simply not a one-for-one exchange. As Jeanette mentioned, 5 of the trees on College Street exceeded 30 inches in diameter. I wasn't able to count the rings before the stumps were ground, but multiplying the diameter of those trees by their growth factor for a basic estimate of their age, and it's safe to say they were much older than I am. In 60-some years, perhaps one of those saplings planned as their replacement may capture a similar amount of carbon and airborne pollutants, soak up the same amount of stormwater, shelter a nearby home as a windbreak and reduce that family's need for air conditioning, provide shelter and food for the birds who nest here or simply pass by, but I won't be here to enjoy that. We're also taking for granted that these saplings will become replacements. That might not be an accurate assessment. Our climate is shifting, and heat and drought stress all living things, especially young trees. Unfortunately, the city of Lake Mills currently does not nurture its young trees, either due to expense, staffing, or priorities. Walk and drive around and you'll see that it's true. Talk to the owner of the new trees. Are they happy with the replacement? Is it much better than what they had before? Will these owners tie handmade hearts around those trunks? We need to take action to protect our tree canopy along our streets and in our parks so that the heart of Lake Mills can remain that sheltered, leafy, inviting community nestled around Rock Lake. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mrs. Trier. Anybody else? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Michael Heitman. I have a property at 510 College Street. I am also a professional civil engineer with over 25 years of experience working outside on municipal projects. These projects include road reconstructs, which have where they are reconstructing the road, removing and replacing water main, water services, sanitary sewer, water main. I am today here to express my concern about the removal of the significant trees, mature trees that have been in our trees that have been removed during reconstruct projects. I know in my experience working in the industry within central Wisconsin and southeastern Wisconsin that there are many affordable ways or alternative ways that we can complete road reconstruction without significantly removing the canopy trees. Mature trees provide many benefits, which Jeanette and Susan just talked about. So I'm just here asking that our city develop a policy that will protect and work to preserve our mature trees. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Okay, seeing none at this time, we will move on to the city manager's report. Mr. Daly.
Thank you. Our new fire chief, Jason Russ, started with the city yesterday. He'll be coming to a future council meeting for a formal introduction, but we are excited to have him on board. In our ongoing efforts to ensure that the city's dam is working correctly, I've engaged with a firm by the name of IPS. They'll be reviewing the dam programming as well as the electrical components within the dam that transmit the data that let the dam know what to do, how to automatically adjust itself based on precipitation and lake levels. The dam has been set into manual mode at this time until that assessment is complete to ensure that it is working properly. We don't have an indication that it's not working properly, but in order to eliminate any potential issues, we're having those components inspected. The manual mode has been set above at several inches higher than the current lake level, and so it should be able to continue to capture any additional precipitation so that the lake level is continued to allow to rise. That inspection will take place in the next couple of weeks, and I will keep the council informed on its results. And then at the August 15th City Council meeting, I will be putting forward an appointment for the Public Works Director. So you can anticipate seeing that on the next agenda.
Okay, thank you for that update. Are there any questions or comments for the city manager? Mr. Waters?
Yes, on Mr. Rust, is that spelled R-U-S-T?
R-U-S-S.
And can you give us a little bit of background on Mr. Rust?
Sure, he comes to us
On Chief Rust, excuse me.
from the Manitowoc Fire Department. He was a deputy chief up in Manitowoc. Prior to that, he spent 5 or 6 years at the Edgerton Fire Department. Helped them with their transition in their department to the larger department that's there today. He's originally from the Wausau area, where he was in a couple of local fire departments there when he started in his fire career. So he comes to us with just about 25 years of fire-related experience. And the PFC was quite pleased with his candidacy and is excited for his leadership of the department. He's already gotten started with us on site plan review and our BSOs, as well as getting to know the department. He has moved to the community, so he's living in the city right now, and is excited to help us and begin shaping that department and leading it.
Great, thank you, and welcome Chief Russ. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Dealey? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 8, Councilmember Board Reports and Acceptance of Plan Commission Minutes of May 23, 2023, Police and Fire Commission, special meeting of May 17th, May 31st, June 1st, and June 8th, 2023. I'll go ahead and accept those into the record here. Are there any comments from, I guess it's just Plan Commission, that would be Ms. Curler, but did anybody have any comments on that? Okay, well, those are accepted. So I'll move on to item number 9 for council business. We have resolution 23-53. Misty, should I get you to read that, or do you just want me to say it?
I can read the title.
Okay.
Resolution 23-53, authorizing the city manager to execute the school resource officer agreement with the Lake Mills Area School District.
Okay, thank you, Misty. And can I get an update on that from, it looks like we have Chief here. All right. We'll let Chief Schroeder go ahead and introduce it, and then I would entertain a motion after that.
Okay, well, good evening. Pretty straightforward what we put before you tonight is we originally did a 1-year agreement, or actually an agreement to extend through the end of the 2022-2023 school year. So we're at a time where if we're going to continue the program, we need to renew the agreement. So we're requesting you to authorize the city manager to enter into that agreement with the school district once again. I have not yet met with the school board for this purpose. I met with them in July and presented kind of an overview of statistics in what we accomplished in the school year last year, and they gave positive feedback on the role of our SRO, specifically Officer Johnson, in that position. So they seem pleased, so my intent would be to go to them at their meeting this month for them to also pass this agreement or enter into this agreement with us. The only changes in the agreement from what you passed last December are changes in the dates. As far as the dates that we're signing it, and then on the last page, the dates that it is effective. So it would be effective September 1st of 2023, going through August 31st of 2024. And after some discussion, we also put language in here that it would automatically renew on a one-year basis every year on September 1st, with either party, the council or the school district, being able to cancel the agreement with 60 days notice. We figured that was easier rather than coming back to pass the same language year after year, is just to give Drake the authorization to continue to enter into those one-year agreements if the city chose to do so. So it's really the only change in the agreement from what you passed in December.
Okay, thank you for that update. Are there any questions for the police chief right now? Or any questions of staff? I have one question for staff, I think, but Mr. Daly, does this fit into our budget going forward into 2024?
The revenue will be incorporated into the budget, but other than that, it's unplanned revenue, which is the good side of the budget to be on with it. So we will incorporate it into the budget as a revenue source for the 2024 budget.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, I think we need a motion now, so
I move to approve Resolution 23-53, authorizing the city manager to execute the school resource officer agreement with the Lake Mills Area School District.
Second?
okay, that was Michelle Quednow making the motion, Greg Waters seconding. Any discussion? Okay, Misty, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Bishop,
Aye.
Ms. Quednow,
Aye.
Mr. Waters.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, thank you, Misty. We will move on now to Ordinance 1255. This is just the second reading. Misty, can you do the second reading, please?
Ordinance 1255, amending City Code Chapter 279, Building Construction, Article 1, Uniform Building Code, Section 279-3, Adoption of Commercial Building Code, Section 279-6, Building Inspector, and Section 279-24, Violations and Penalties.
Okay, thank you, Misty. And I think our building and code inspector gave an update last time. Are there any questions or additional information we should consider tonight? Okay.
I think Troy did a pretty good job. I'm wondering if we could, I move to push this ordinance forward to the third reading tonight.
Okay, there's a motion to move Ordinance 1255 to the third reading. Is there a second? Okay, seeing no second, it looks like this will go to the third reading at the next meeting. I think we can move on to, let's go to agenda item 9C for Ordinance 1257 for a zoning amendment. Misty, can you go ahead and read that, please?
Ordinance 1257, amending City of Lake Mills Ordinance Section 660-44, Official Zoning Map, City of Lake Mills, Wisconsin, Parcel Identification Number 246-0714-1822002, Owner Brian Bauman, 904 East Lake Street, Lake Mills, Wisconsin.
Okay, thank you, Misty. So that was the first reading. I was told that we could go ahead and move this to a second or third reading and then even a decision tonight, so that is dependent on a motion to do so. Is there any discussion first from city staff on this?
When properties are annexed into the city, they come in on a RD, rural development. It takes a subsequent step to actually assign the most appropriate zoning designation, which in this case is R14. So this is a procedural matter. The annexation is complete, and this is just the final step in ensuring it has the proper zoning classification.
Ms.
Okay.
Bishop?
Yes, Ms. Quednow.
Is there a timeline that we need to be cognizant of for Mr. Bauman, or is this up to our timeline?
I'm not aware of a timeline on it, but I'm also not aware of any reason to delay as well.
Okay.
Okay, were there any other questions? There doesn't have to be, but was there a motion somebody wanted to bring forth on this one?
Not tonight, no.
Okay, then we will go to the second reading at the next meeting, again, for this ordinance number. I think that brings us to recommendations for future agenda items, so we can do that right now. Mr. Waters, Ms. Quednow? Okay.
Obviously, canopy trees are an issue.
Yep.
But,
Yeah, I had thought that was an issue really from state law, where you're taking down those trees, you have to put something that's not gonna interfere with the electrical wires above. Maybe we should get a written report on that. Should we make that type of recommendation? And then from there, we can make other.
And I think more information about mature trees and the value of, I mean, the people who spoke today did a good job of explaining the value that they bring. I think it's also important that we talk about in more detail about why those trees are taken down. Because perhaps the reason why people are upset is because the why was not clear enough for them. But either way, I agree that tree lawns need to be discussed as far as, when we are looking at repairing or redoing streets, future streets, and those big trees that are there already.
So based on their discussions tonight, they talk tree lawns and parks, so that falls into Public Works and the Parks Board. I'm wondering if we should just take a little bit of time to review, maybe talk to staff before we make a referral at this point.
Okay, so do we want to have city staff make that an agenda item for these other boards, or do we want to have a discussion point first at the next meeting before a formal resolution?
Yeah, construction methods and tree preservation has been a topic of discussion at the staff level for for the summer, essentially. I would not say that we are prepared yet to present any options to you. We are working on them as far as what methods the city could employ to maximize tree preservation and what additional resources would be necessary in order to do so. So we are working on it, but I can't give you a timeline right now on it, as it's likely a fall discussion, hopefully after the summer season we made it through the summer season. But we had anticipated having a discussion, at least on the tree lawn and road reconstruction policies with the Public Works Board this fall/winter prior to the next road reconstruction project. We have not had begun an in-depth discussion of any policies within the parks. Tonight was the first night we had heard any mention of our tree maintenance within the parks. So I can certainly have a discussion with staff on what that maintenance plan looks like and report back. So it is on our minds and on our work schedules. We're just not quite ready yet to present to a board or the council on it.
And another way to look at it could be ad hoc, as far as bringing parks and public works and staff together in an ad hoc committee to maybe review the project as well. So.
Okay, it sounds like we have some ideas for some ways forward on that. Thank you, Mr. Waters. Ms. Quednow?
Yeah, I think we need to just relook at the community center policy as the correspondence that was received was interesting, and wanting to clarify any things that maybe need to be to be looked at again. So I'm recommending that we take a look at that again.
Okay, so we have community center policy relook. Anything else for future agenda items?
All good.
Okay, we are going to Convene into a closed session, and I'm going to read the rule on that, but before I do, so I don't forget, we will not be reconvening back online. So once we close here, we will not be online again. So we're going to convene into closed session to discuss legal claims pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.85 sub 1G, conferring with legal counsel who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to be involved. So we need a motion, I think, to convene into closed session and then a roll call vote. Can I get a motion?
I move to go into closed session.
Second.
Okay, Michelle Quidnow motioning, Mr. Waters seconding, and Misty, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Quidnow,
Aye.
Mr. Waters,
Aye.
Mrs. Bishop,
Aye.
motion passes 3-0.
Okay, thank you, Misty.